I'm George McCranie. I wanted to quickly explain to you how a Georgia criminal case moves through the Georgia criminal court system. Now, you need to understand that all the different courts in Georgia, we've got everything from magistrate and probate courts, we've got state courts, we've got superior courts. There is no set time for these cases to work their way through. So there's no this happens and then 30 days later this happens and 60 days later that happens. It doesn't work that way in Georgia. Each court has its own set time. Some courts move faster than others. Now let's talk about the process of how a case moves through the system. Well, first thing is you're arrested and then you get charged and you're out on bond. Now after you're out on bond, you'll have an arraignment on the accusation. That's where you go to court and the accusation says you've been charged with a certain crime and they ask you to plead guilty or not guilty. Okay, that's the first thing, first court appearance that you're going to have. All right, if it's a misdemeanor case, then there'll be a calendar call followed by motions followed by trial. And there's two types of trials in Georgia. There's a bench trial where the judge is the only person that is the finder of fact. There is no jury. And then there's a jury trial. If it's a misdemeanor case, there'll be 6 jurors on a misdemeanor jury. Okay. Now again, there's no set time period for this case to move through the Georgia criminal system. All right. If it's a felony charge, after you've been arraigned on the accusation, the felony charge will then go in front of a grand jury. It's called a grand jury presentment. Now at grand jury, this isn't a trial, but at grand jury, only the government is allowed to present evidence. Okay. They get to bring in the GBI, the State Patrol, the Crime Lab, whoever they want to come in and tell this grand jury their side of the case. All right, and the grand jury decides whether to true bill or no bill the case. If they true bill the case, it moves forward. If they no bill the case, that stops it. Okay, it slows it down, stops it usually. All right, now the only people that get to go and defend themselves in front of a grand jury are elected officials and law enforcement. That's all. So if you're an elected official or law enforcement, you can go tell your side of the story at grand jury. Otherwise, the rest of the people, all of us, we don't get to go, just the government. Now, if the case is true billed, then it moves to an arraignment on an indictment. All right, and that's where you go in front of the court again and you plead guilty or not guilty to those felony charges that you've been indicted on. All right, then you move to a calendar call. That's ask, is the case ready and completed? Do you have all the evidence in the case? The attorney makes the announcements for that. Then it moves into motions, and motions are where the defense attorneys try to get the judge to exclude evidence that they don't think should be presented at trial. All right. After motions, the case normally moves then into the trial procedure. So the way a case moves through the Georgia criminal court system. Sometimes it might move quickly. We've got certain courts in our area, South Georgia, that you can have a jury trial within 60 days. Other cases may take years. It just depends on the court system that you're in. Okay? But that's how a Georgia criminal case moves through the Georgia criminal court system.